Well, hello there. Hello, everybody. This is your brother Ron, also known as R2C2 H2 the artivist. Can you dig it? And this is another wonderful, edutaining, infotaining edition of We All Be. News Free Dixie for the 21st century. I'm your host for this empowerment segment, and just want to kick it off. Trying to do my due diligence of going live on a consistent basis because the narratives are constantly changing on a daily nanosecond basis. Things that we thought we knew, no longer that we knew. And but we all be in it. We got to be in it, y'all. This is not a sprint. This is a marathon for real, for reals, right? So I hope everybody's doing fine out there in all the land because this is a lot to talk about, and I think it's very important that so-called independent new black media we do our part to be really true thought provocateurs, to really lay it out there for the people, to, as the Black Panther Party would say back in the day, heighten the contradictions. And I think this is something that needs to be talked about, very urgent. That's why I'm going live. I won't be on here that long. I won't give y'all too much to swallow at one time. She swallowed it. We swallowed it, all right? Because we all be in it to get that information. Because information is power, and knowledge is the currency of the universe. I just want to talk about something that I've been dealing with, that I noticed this phenomenon of black men and the Agent Orange, the Trump phenomenon. Uh, Trump claimed in a press conference about a couple weeks back at Mar-a-Lago that he knows that he won't get a huge percentage of the black woman vote, but he said that he had 51% of the black male vote. He could count on at least at that point 51%. And people saying Trump is panicking right now about his situation, that Kamala's in the lead, but I don't go by the polls. Who they polling? Who they polling? Because when I go outside and interact with people or even listen to people, I don't think people are all sold on the Democratic Party at this point, and they just as desperate, if not more so, than the Trump organization in terms of trying to get their vote secured. And I'll tell you this: when I talk to black men, I'm not gonna say all black men. Some black males, they're blue no matter who, because their woman told them to be blue no matter who, because they black woman told them to, because this is a so-called black woman. She's not black. I'm sorry, she is not black. It's East Indian Jamaican woman who was the daughter of proud immigrants who were not American citizens. This anchor baby, she's an anchor baby, is running for the highest office in all the land. It is what it is. You can feel the way you want to feel. I think it's very interesting when you state the obvious. People claim that you hate women, that you are misogynistic, what is misogyny, that you practice misogyny because you don't want this particular female, Kamala Harris, to be the president of the United States, to be number 47. So if you don't want her to be that, that means you're against all women or all women folk. They what they saying. And if you're a black man, you cannot be against women folk. And this is what people throw in our faces, right? They want to vote shame black men into voting blue no matter who. And they always using this Malcolm X quote. It's funny how they pick things from Malcolm X to cherry pick and to amplify, but it's things that was way more important. They never amplify or try to make it known or make it plain to the people about Brother Malcolm and his stance. Brother Malcolm, to be quite honest, he probably be considered a conservative today. You look at the stance of Malcolm X and how his talking points, especially coming out the Nation of Islam, he will be probably be considered some type of a black conservative if you think about his talking points. Not what you want to fantasize and fetishize about. People got this Malcolm fetish, and he's taboo still, right? He's been he's been washed and bleached a little bit for American mainstream consumption. But the real Malcolm X, they want to keep hidden. I know people that do Malcolm X tributes. I never forget, I went to a Malcolm X tribute up in NYC at the former Audubon ballroom where he got assassinated. The former Audubon ballroom, which is now known, I believe, as like the Malcolm X and Betty Shabazz Center, something like that. But you know, the brother who was like the host or MC or whatever, he was trying to quote Malcolm, right? But he kept on putting in like disclaimers. It's like he was doing disclaimers, like he was saying, you know, we want to do stuff by any means necessary. And then he'll say something to the effect, well, I don't really mean by any means necessary. Well, don't say it. It's like Brother Malcolm said, if you ain't ready to fight for freedom or die for freedom, get the word out your vocabulary. To paraphrase Brother Malcolm, if you're not ready to fight or die for freedom, get the word out your vocabulary. Stop quoting Malcolm extremisms if you're not ready to be extreme in a time of extremism. If you're not ready, I'll take you there or to go there, then don't claim that stuff. But the dude kept on walking back those type of quotes from Malcolm. I said, why are you saying this if you don't mean it, bro? We know you not Malcolm made, man. You know, a lot of us ain't Malcolm made. You know what I'm saying? We can't stand 10 toes down like Malcolm stood. A lot of us don't want to get deleted in front of our loved ones, to traumatize your baby girls. He had twin daughters in the womb that felt that trauma when they took Malcolm off the planet. Just like Fred Hampton Jr. felt the trauma of his father being assassinated while he was in his mother's womb. And you see how he, Fred Hampton Jr., he's a very excellent communicator, but I feel like you can still feel that trauma from December 4th, 69, when you hear Fred Hampton Jr. speak. See, black folks, we're dealing with trauma. Black folks, we're dealing with the fact that they want the black male in a state of arrested development ever since the civil rights movement. They wanted black males in a state of arrested development. They don't want us to develop into men. They don't want us to prosper and thrive in our prime. You look at what happened 60 years ago when in America, you had strong black hetero male leadership. You had the Malcolms, you had the Dr. Kings, you had the A. Philip Randolphs, the Whitney Youngs, the Roy Wilkins, James Farmer, James Foreman, hell, even John Lewis. You had Stokely's, you had the H. Rap Browns, you had some very out there brothers, the Bobby Seals, the Huey Newtons. You had some brothers, the Fred Hampton Seniors. You had some brothers that was about their business, that was out there for the people. They put their lives, on the line for the people, who are very animate, very vocal, very skilled at communicating. Now we went from that, and there's no disrespect. We went from that to what we have now. We went from that to Attorney Ben Crump. This is not a knock on Ben Crump, but this is where we at right now. We went from that type of leaders to what we have with Ben Crump. We went from James Baldwin to Billy Porter. Hell, we went even from Byron Rustin to Billy Porter. All right. I mean, we had it's like we had the 92 Dream Team 60 years ago, so to speak, right? Wait a minute, hold on, y'all. God bless people. Dropping stuff, trying to see what's going on here. Trying to get, we're in a Mercury retrograde. I think tomorrow will be the last day for Mercury retrograde. But we had some stunners. We had Medgar Evers, and we had Medgar Evers in 1963, right? Where is Medgar Evers? You look at the state of NACP today. Medgar Evers was the field secretary for the NACP, National Advancement for the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. We had Medgar Evers as field secretary, World War II veteran, member of the Red Ball Express. That was like the Amazon Prime of World War II back in the day. They had to get them supplies and resources to the Third Army, General George Patton, Third Army. They was going through Europe trying to get to Berlin. So you had, that guy, World War II veteran, him and his brother Charles Evers, strong black men, hetero black males, hetero black men who stood on business 10 toes down, who put their lives on the line for their people, who were very masculine. We don't have a lot of mainstream. You can't name me a mainstream masculine black man. Now we have some, some strong men. We have strong males, right? We have some strong black males. They got muscles and they look intimidating, but they're not mentally. They're not there. We don't have like the equivalent. Let's say we don't even have a Malcolm X. Like when you look at news shows, there's no black personality that's like the equivalent of what a Malcolm X would be. Could you imagine somebody that had the mentality of a Malcolm X on some of these news programs? Could you imagine if somebody like Van Jones had a Malcolm mentality? Would he even be on CNN, the crying Negro network, the communist Negro network, whatever you want to call it? Is anything but news. It's propaganda. It's propaganda for the masses. We don't have strong. Can y'all hear my mic? I hope y'all can hear me. Let me know in the chat if you can hear me. Can you feel me? Hey, Sister Tiffany, how you doing? Thank you for coming out tonight. Tonight is the night. Tonight. See, it's all y'all packed out. Okay. Thank you, Sister Alexandria. Hey, Sister. Thank you, Brother Maurice. It's good to see you. Or you can see me. It's good for you to be in the space to be seen because we all be in it to win it. Thank you. Brother Julian, what's up? Y'all make sure y'all sign up. I'm about to get out this white tea plantation. We all BTV. Go subscribe to We All BTV too. And rumble.com, We All BTV. There you'll catch a lot of these episodes because they really trying to get me off this white tea plantation. They want me to run away. Run away, love. What up, Sister Law Dog? Thank you for tuning out to tune in to get in where you fit in. Yes, Sister Delta. She is, oh, me, excuse me, Brother Delta Roots. She's not FBA. She's not like us. The fact that black women are going hard for this woman is very problematic. You got black women who come from the chattel slavery. Their ancestors were enslaved here. Their ancestors participated in the American Civil War, the American Revolutionary War, all the wars. And yet you got first generation daughter of immigrants, anchor baby. Parents were not citizens of this country. They got, working visas or green cards to work, go to college, whatever, but they were not American citizens. They had her in California. She's an anchor baby. So you got this first generation anchor baby that could quite possibly become a president of the United States. And you just leapfrog black folks who people been here for generations. We so disrespected. And that's one thing I want to talk about tonight. And it needs to be talked about. Let me see. Okay, y'all good. Okay, she is not like us, right? So you said, let me see. Somebody said, Law Dog, he said, NACP makes me upset because I appreciate the people I know who are president of certain cities, yet I do not think they are doing what's right with the feminist and gay agenda. And they up to now. They're not doing what's right with the feminist and gay agenda they are up to now. The NACP is interesting. The NACP is problematic. Now, the NACP historically has done some significant things to help advance black people, but the NACP of today ain't what it used to be in terms of taking on certain legalities in the court to advocate for so-called colored people, black Americans, and any other marginalized people in this country. Like I said, the NACP field secretary of Mississippi was Medgar Evers. He got assassinated in front of his family at the age of 37, June 12th, 1963. He requested that the NACP provide him with proper security, with bodyguards and whatever. It's kind of like the situation with RFK Jr., where he requested the Secret Service to guard him as he did his campaigning for president, and they refused until after Donald Trump almost got deleted in Butler, Pennsylvania. And so I believe like decades later, because Myrlie Evers, the widow of Medgar Evers, she actually stepped in to the NACP in AACP leadership back in the 90s when they were having a crisis of leadership and the institution was under certain type of problems. And she stepped in and basically saved the day, the widow of Medgar Evers. And so I believe the NACP ended up apologizing officially to Medgar Evers' family, merely his widow and his family, for them not giving Medgar the security he needed. And you think about the NACP, a lot of black lives were lost uh, who did work with the NACP or were destroyed. And now the president, the national president, is Derek Johnson, who's from Mississippi, by the way, Detroit. He went to college down in Mississippi, I believe, and he decided to stay in Mississippi. He became the state president of the NACP in Mississippi, and now he's the national president. I don't hear too much of anything from him in terms of realizing some objectives that need to be realized for Black Americans first and foremost. We don't have an advocacy group for Black America. We do not. We have people at the grassroots and on social media. They do things to advocate for the needs of Black America, for reparations and restitution for Black Americans, to honor our ancestors. But we don't have anybody politically that really advocates for that peace. And Kamala is not open or receptive to doing anything as it relates to the needs and the wants and desires of Black America. She made it clear in an interview with Griot that she would not do anything specifically for Black Americans. She would not do anything, no reparations, no nothing. She was animated about that. This so-called Black woman, this so-called Divine Nine, Mrs. Chuck and Pearls herself, Mrs. AKA Kamala Harris, said she would not do a thing specifically for Black America. She will not. And you know what's sad is that a lot of people who have come here have benefited from the sacrifices made by Black America 60, 70 years ago with the civil rights movement. Affirmative action benefited white women more than any other racial group or whatever group of people. Affirmative action was made to help descendants of Black American slaves or enslaved people to get ahead, to level the playing fields. President Johnson made an address, I believe, back in the 60s at Howard University outlining what affirmative action was going to be about. But if you look at how affirmative action has been applied in the decades since, it's really benefited white women. And to say that white women are the minorities is a very interesting thing. That shows you that they do what they want to do. It's like a lot of people claim to be Native Americans who are white. They got on Dodge rolls. They call them the $5 Indians and stuff. Donald Trump, I don't know if it's true or not. Elizabeth Warren, he made fun of her because she claims she's a Native American. He called her Pocahontas, and he talking about the Indian casinos are ran by white people. He didn't say it like that, but he was saying they didn't like Native Americans to him. Just like Kamala, he called out Kamala at the National Association of Black Journalists. Is you Black or Indian? What are you? I don't know what you are. And people say, oh, he's being racist. No, but she's a chameleon. She's a chameleonaire. She changes colors, she changes creeds and all that. She's an East Indian Hindu posing as a Black American woman, a sorority sister. Yeah, I said it. You know what's interesting is the fact that Kamala is the AKA, and the headquarters for the AKAs is where? Chicago, Chicago, that town. It's on the same, I think it's on the west side of Chicago, about 10 miles maybe away from the DNC, and where they had the DNC last week at the United Center. So you had the headquarters of the AKAs right there in Chicago. Did Kamala get them any special treatment in terms of the fact that those are her sorority sisters? Did she have a suite for them in the arena? From my understanding, they was watching somewhere at a bar. What was going on with the coronation of Kamala Harris as the nominee for the Democratic Party for president. They was not even inside the building. Kamala treated her sorority sisters like she treated her father. Kamala left them outside left them outside, man. They had a wall built around the United Center. They talking about Donald Trump building a wall down at the southern border, but they had the wall built to keep the infidels and the protesters and the Palestinian supporters outside. Oh, they so democratic, the Democratic Party. They're the party of Fannie Lou Hamer. They giving abortions and vasectomies and stuff like that outside. And they said, we're the party of Fannie Lou Hamer. And anybody that know history knows 60 years ago that the Democratic Party tried to ignore Fannie Lou Hamer when she was speaking before the Credentials Committee at the DNC in Atlantic City back in 64, August of 64. President Johnson was fearful of her testimony of exposing how black people were treated below the Mason-Dixon line. And so what he did, as she was testifying on national television, he cut through her presentation with his own presentation before, I believe, 30 governors in the East Room in the White House. So how, I mean, the party, this is the party of Fannie Lou Hamer, who was the 20th child of her parents. She didn't believe in ending life. She wanted to have her own family. And the state of Mississippi sterilized her without her consent. They took her right to have children away from her. And she was the 20th child of her parents. And then she didn't know she could vote. Think about this. She didn't know she had political rights until she was 45 years old. Fannie Lou Hamer did not know she could vote until she was 45 years old. She lived her life mostly on the plantation. She lived to be 59, but she was beaten to an inch of her life in prison by black male inmates at the request, at the command of the sheriff deputies of the jail at Winona, Mississippi. And she was released the same day they killed Medgar Evers in front of his family. This is Fannie Lou Hamer, whose adopted daughter was denied medical service because of who her adopted mother was. So you had a hospital that denied her adopted daughter much needed medical assistance, and her daughter ended up dying at the age of 22 because the medical establishment did not want to treat her adopted daughter because of who her adopted mother was. This is what we talking about. Fannie Lou Hamer had a farmers co-op where black folks could not only be farmers but also control their crops to make a profit. She set that up in the Delta in Ruralville, Mississippi, where she's from, right? She also had a situation where she helped create affordable housing where black folks could actually own their homes within a 20-year span. So this is a black woman who didn't know she could vote at 45, who once she figured out she had some political clout, she could get some political power, she started organizing her people. This woman who had a limited form of education was an activist with the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. She helped organize the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party, a 68 people delegation to go to the 64 Democratic Convention up in Atlantic City. This is the same summer they killed the three civil rights workers, Mickey Swerner, Andrew Goodman, and James Chaney, Mississippi burning case. So that she made sure, and her people made sure their deaths were not in vain. This is the reason why we was able to get the Voting Rights Act the next year. So it's the blood, sweat, and tears of a black woman, a black American-made woman from the Delta. Kamala ain't like us. When they tell us that Kamala, that Fannie Lou Hamer dream was for an East Indian daughter of immigrants to become the president of the United States. It's like they were saying Dr. King's dream was for Barack Obama to become the president of the United States. Dr. King said that we as a people shall get to the promised land. His last speech was about we as a people shall get to the promised land. It wasn't about me, myself, and I. It wasn't about one man, one vote. It's about we as a people. He talked about black solidarity, black economics, black destiny. This is his dream. One man's dream is another man's nightmare. And let me just talk about what I want to talk about now. Um, if you really want to, as a black person, know where you stand with your so-called family and friends, tell them that you're going to vote for Donald J. Trump to be the 47th president of these United States. Tell your so-called family and friends that you want to vote for Donald J. Trump this fall to be the next president, and you will see where you actually stand with these people. people you thought you were solid with, that you did things for, that you looked out for. Watch how quick they turn on you. Not everybody, but it's a litmus test. If you really want to not waste time with the wrong people, share your political view with these people, with said friends and family, and watch how they disinvite you so fast from the cookout, bro. Go, damn, you got the best barbecue in the neighborhood. They're gonna disinvite you so fast from the cookout. And it's liberating because, like, it's weird to me that people who like Donald Trump and want to vote for Donald Trump got to be silent. We like the silent majority or whatever. We can't talk about our political viewpoints. We can't talk about our frustrations, and we can't criticize Saint Kamala Harris. We can't criticize Saint anointed Kamala Harris about anything, which is really sad. This is really sad commentary. But what I am learning though, so it's a little cultural civil war going on in the black community as it relates to the presidential cycle, right? It's a little civil war going on. And this is what I want to talk about tonight because what right now is like Black Panther predicted this. They did predictive programming in the Black Panther movie, the original one, the one that came out in 2008. You remember one of the closing scenes where the black women fighting the black men in Wakanda. They had a Wakandan civil war. You had the black men fighting the black women and vice versa. You had Team Killmonger. I guess the black men were Team Killmonger, and you had Team T'Challa. The Black Panther was the black women because he had an all black woman bodyguard thing. If Donald Trump had an all woman body, you see what happened with Donald Trump with his women bodyguards, right? I'm not saying you can't be we call that that movie that Viola Davis did about women warriors in Africa. But I'm just saying, you see how they worked out for Donald Trump having a lot of women on his security detail. And so, that movie, I liked it. I enjoyed it the first two times I saw it. I haven't saw it since I saw it for the first two times I saw it in 2018. Because now I realize it was a psyop. The way it's set up because Wakanda had all those resources. They had the vibranium and stuff like that, and they allowed the CIA guy. They should let him die because if you know anything about the history of the CIA in the Congo, in Africa in general, but in the Congo in particular, they should have let him die. They shouldn't save the life of the so-called CIA agent. He should have died. Killmonger was actually a hero of Black Panther because he was fighting for the liberation of all black people by any means necessary. Now you could question his methods, but in war, like General Colin Powell or Colin, it was Colin Powell, General Colin Powell, another not like us. He's a folks with Jamaican. He wasn't from here like that, and he's part of the we call it the beige brigade, the color bag brigade. But he said it best on he was on Meet the Press some years ago with Tim Russert, I believe. He said that when you declare war, you call off civilization. When you declare war, you call off civilization, meaning that the rules of civilization don't apply to war. So how can you have a war crime when your aim is to win by any means necessary? So that's what that means. So I look at now where there's a division between men and women in Black America over Kamala Harris, a woman who told us in her own words that she would not do anything specifically to help Black America. She told us that. And we are like, we can't believe her. There is footage, and people are in denial. We are in a state of cognitive dissonance as a people. And so I had to do this because I had a conversation or debate or whatever the hell it was, an ambush in my inbox. Somebody who's supposed to be family sent me a link about a situation where a judge ruled against a black community somewhere in the South. I don't know, it was Louisiana, saying that the EPA cannot get involved in the situation, something like that. And they was pointing out the fact that this judge was appointed by Trump. And I said, okay, um, the EPA, along with the Department of Education, has been failing the people It's a lot of institutional failure that was in place. This culture of not helping and not being compliant or being of service to our citizens. This culture started way before Trump. Like, this problem. I mean, I'm not gonna let that one thing get in the way, because if I know the history of America, the Tuskegee experiment happened with the government permission. How they exploited the black woman known as Henrietta Lacks and John Hopkins. This woman died of ovarian cancer, I believe, at the age of 29 in her 20s. And John Hopkins took her immortal cells and made all type of scientific advancements off of her immortal cells, and did not get her consent to use her body in that way. So they was able to make all the HeLa cells. They name it after her, Henrietta Lacks. They call them HeLa cells, HeLa, HeLa. And it was like they used it. They made all types of stuff happen. I mean, they made literally billions of dollars off this woman's cell. And then when I remember when the book The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks came out, I believe the woman that wrote it name was Rebecca Skloot, this white woman who used to be a professor, a writing professor at the University of Memphis. She actually went to Baltimore to, connect with the family, because the daughter Henrietta Lacks, she was alive at the time. She was one of the biggest advocates for her mom and for their rights, because they thought, they was surprised that they was using her mama's cells like that, because Henrietta Lacks' family was dealing with generational poverty. They could not afford health care insurance. They had all types of ailments. They could not even afford health care insurance. And the irony is that one of their relatives, their body parts was used to make billions and billions of dollars for the big pharma. And big pharma did not compensate the family of Henrietta Lacks. Oprah brought the rights to the story and made a movie. She starred as the daughter. Uh, it's an HBO movie that came out several years back. I'm just trying to get all this together, y'all. Okay. And what I'm saying is, like, you look at either the father of gynecology, J. Marion Sims, right? He is the father of gynecology, but really he's Dr. Frankenstein, because of how he made those investments in women, so-called women reproductive rights, where was experimenting on black women, destroying, tearing up their wounds, and not giving black women anesthesia, even experimenting on black babies. This guy was Dr. Joseph Mengele before Mengele was even thought, even probably before Mengele parents were born. This Dr. Marion Sims was doing all this stuff to black women down in South Carolina and all this other stuff. But he's the father of gynecology. And what he was doing all types of weird experiments on black people. And they claim that black folks could not feel no pain. That's why he did not give them any anesthesia. And for a long time, they had a statue in a prominent place up in New York of so-called Dr. J. Marion Sims. And they removed it, I think, to his resting place. I think he was resting in Brooklyn or somewhere. But anyway, I say all this to say that black men and black women have been screwed over by this country, by this republic, and all that. We went through a lot of stuff: Jim Crow, lynchings, race massacres, things of that nature. And for us to really be torn apart over a woman who is not actually like us, she's not like us. For us to tear apart our families, to show all types of disrespect and lack of empathy and compassion for people that you know, a lot of cases for all your life, that you know them, they know you, y'all known each other for years, and let this woman who has no commitment, no, so she does not care about black America. She made it loud and clear. I am not hard on hearing what she said, and you could find it for yourself. But a lot of us want to play dumb. But I'm saying all this to say is that I am tired of black men being taken for granted by black people. I am tired for black men who stand on principle, who do right by black people, not being respected because they have a difference of opinion when it comes to political matters. You would think that the way when you say I'm a black man and I support Trump, you think that you assaulted one of their loved ones. Some of these black folks act in response. People you thought you was good and solid with, they show their true colors, and really they show their lack of understanding. See, it's not about when I look at supporting Donald Trump, it's not about I need a white savior. It's not about that. I'm doing things to help get my people in a certain position to leverage us. It's not about, he white master can't do no wrong. It's not about that. This is about strategy. If you look at what we lost, Al Sharpton had access to Barack Obama for 8 years. Did Al Sharpton did anything to benefit Black Americans? Black folks still getting killed, assaulted by police, still getting evicted, red line, discrimination. All this stuff is still going on in Black America. Black folks ending up dead under questionable circumstances, like Sandra Bland. We don't even talk about Sandra Bland. Y'all talking about Sonia Massey, but y'all forgot about Sandra Bland. And we just accept the fact they say, well, no, she killed herself. She hung herself with a garbage bag. And nobody said, what brand of garbage bag did she use? Let's do our own test study. Let's experiment with this brand of body bag. How much did she weigh? And let's see if this garbage bag could actually hold or support her weight. We don't even have any type of institution that advocates for Black America. We have no institution, no sovereign entity that makes these so-called powers they think they be answer to disrespect and for the needs and support of Black folk. We don't have that in place. We have people that like to twerk, that like to do selfies. You have people that like to do slick sayings and putting that in memes and on t-shirts, but we don't have nobody about that business. We don't have nobody that or people that put in that work that we need to have that work put in. We don't have that as a people. And this is my problem. But when we did have that as a people, you had strong Black men in the mix. No, you could talk about strong Black women all day long and strong and female Black women, Black girl magic. You need a Black boy joy. You need a Black man strong. You need a Black man or Black men in the mix. You don't have nothing without Black men. You don't have women rights, reproductive rights without Black men. If Black men did not put on the Union blue during the Civil War, you don't have women ability to vote or women rights. Black men were not considered people, but we fought for our freedoms, and by us fighting and even dying for us, everybody benefits. It's like there's a lot of Black people got killed, a lot of Black men got killed 60 plus years ago to help advance human rights, civil rights. But the thing about it is now when they write the narrative, it's just like, oh, the only people that really did the work were gay people and women. Yeah, I said it. The only people that get all the credit is gay women and I mean not gay, but gay people and women. They're the only people that get all the credit. So what they say about us? This is about us. And so I raised some concerns, and Black women look at me crazy. Black males look at me crazy. And I'm saying, look, um, we are not progressing as a people. Because if we can still use Malcolm X speeches from 60 years ago, and we say, man, it's like he's talking about 2024. That means we have not made any real progress in 60 years or 70 years or whatever. We have not made any real progress. Tomorrow will be the anniversary of the I Have a Dream speech, right? Dr. King did that August 28th, 63, if I'm not mistaken. Then around this time, you had the kidnapping and murder, lynching of Emmett Lewis Till, a 14-year-old boy from Chicago, visiting his relatives down in Mississippi. That happened around August 28th. They found his body tied to a fan, um, cotton gin fan, I believe, pulling out the Tallahatchie River down in Mississippi, August 31st of 1955. So a lot of stuff. This is Black August. This is the unofficial Second Black History Month. This is Black August, where revolutions and revolutionaries are born and even die. So this is Black August. So when you think about this stuff, right? What Dr. King talked about And I have the dream speech about judging people by the content of their character, black and whites getting along. And remember Rodney King said in 92, what at 92, can we all just get along and all this other stuff? We have never got along. That's by design because the system runs on white power. When I say white power, I mean divide and conquer. That's how so-called white people stay in power, by keeping people at odds with each other, including themselves. They keep themselves at odds. That's how you create world wars. But when you talk about black power, it's not talking about black supremacy. It's talking about unity and solidarity. Because you notice when black people are able to work with each other, we are able to shift paradigms that everybody benefit from. We are able to move things, get stuff done that everybody benefits from. The civil rights movement, that took black power to get done. The early stages, the Montgomery bus boycott, stuff like that, that took black power. That shifted the consciousness of the nation. Black people able to work with black people, black man, woman, and child being on the same page. That's the Trinity. Black man, woman, and child. That's the Trinity. If you think about the Montgomery bus boycott, before the Montgomery bus boycott took place, you had it was normal for black women to be sexually assaulted by white bus drivers and police officers in Montgomery. This was a normal occurrence of white males abusing their power against black women. But when you had the Montgomery bus boycott happen, I think there was no reports of any type of sexual assaults against black women. You had black folks stay off them buses for 381 straight days down in Montgomery. They brought them to their financial needs. They got on their knees and said, please, please stop punishing us black people. And what they don't talk about is that the bus company wanted to sell the bus, they wanted to sell the Montgomery bus stuff to black business people. And Dr. King, who was not a black businessman, said, no, that was not our objective to own the bus company. We just want to be able to ride and be treated like everybody else on the bus. We should have been owning the bus company instead of worrying about trying to ride a bus. We should have been owning the hamburger restaurant instead of trying to worry about trying to buy a hamburger. And then you can't even afford the hamburger. So you integrate the restaurant, can't even afford to pay for the hamburger. That's where he got to from 55, 56 into 68 when he did his last speech here in Memphis, Tennessee, the mountaintop speech. He talked about supporting black businesses. He talking about what good is it for us to integrate a restaurant and I can't even afford the hamburger. He talked about boycotting white corporations that took black dollars but didn't provide what we call now black jobs. He talked about boycotting Coca-Cola, Wonder Bread, Hearts Bread, supporting black businesses like banks and insurance companies. He talked about all that. It took him about 13 years to get to that conclusion. Because really, it should never been about integration. It should be more about, well, let me take it back. They said integration, but they end up doing assimilation. See, I don't have a problem with integration. Equal access, equal respect, whatever. When you assimilate, you lose your cultural identity and even your moral compass. Because Dr. King realized that they got it confused because they kept on confusing the integration thing with assimilation. And then he came to the conclusion, like he made that famous conclusion, according to Harry Belafonte, that I have integrated my people into a burning house. Then he made the also statement that we got to be like firemen. Since we got integrated into a burning house, we got to be like the firemen and put the fire out. But before he could even have a chance to put the fire out, they shot him in his face, April 4th, 68. So this is where we at. But to say, uh, now we at a state in our so-called community. I don't think we're in a community. I really don't, because to be in a community is to control your resources and institutions. To be in a community means you control your food, your education, your economics, and your politics. Where is it in America that so-called Black Americans control their food, their politics, their education, uh, their economics? And you look at what happened when we tried to do that, whether it be Wilmington in 1898 or Tulsa in 1921, Rosewood in 1923, Elaine, Arkansas in 1919. You see how the white power structure responds to black folks organizing and utilizing black power. East St. Louis, 1917. See, this stuff keep on happening, and folks keep on we making progress. What progress we making? Just finding different ways to get our ass kicked. Finding different ways to get our ass kicked. But like what I want to talk about tonight, I'm gonna get to it because I can't believe it's almost an hour. And I'm just all over the place, right? Please forgive me. And I also want to bring up, like I talked about, Al Gore could have won the election without Florida had he gotten either Tennessee with 11 electorate votes. 'Cause I think he ended up having 266 electorate votes, without Florida. So Al Gore, you need 270 to win the election for president, right? So Al Gore couldn't get Tennessee with 11 electorate votes. He just needed 4 or 5 votes, right? He was short by 4 votes. And Arkansas is not 5 electorate votes. It's actually 6 electorate votes. I always say 5, but it's actually 6. So I'm getting back to what the hell he talking about. But let me get back to what I want to talk about as the division between black men and black women. And I talked about Malcolm X. I'm going all around the sun, right? Malcolm X said something to the fact, let me see, because people always want to quote that. Let me get it right. Let me get it right. Because Malcolm 100th is coming up. The 100th birth of Malcolm X is coming up next year. And we're going to get Malcolm X's nephew, Ronald Collins, on the show to talk about the events they got planned for brother Malcolm next year. And just to catch up and get his thoughts about the political thing. I always like talking to brother Ronald Collins about his uncle's amazing legacy and also about his perspective on the state of affairs as relates to black people. And let me see. Let me see if I can find it. We all be in it to win it. Let's see. On May 22nd, 1962, Malcolm X addressed a group of black people in Los Angeles, California, in which he spoke to the plight of black women. He said, the most disrespected person in America is the black woman. The most unprotected person in America is the black woman. The most neglected person in America is the black woman. This remains one of his most often quoted quotes by Malcolm X. The snippet resonates with black women so much that Beyonce sampled it in her 2016 Lemonade album. Um, See, that's the quote people always throw in people's face, like, about black women being disrespected. Like in Zora Neale Hurston, Dr. Zora Neale Hurston referred to black women as being mules or, working mules and all that. Now, black women are wonderful people. Let me just say that black women are amazing. My mama's black. My grandmama's black. The people that helped me through college, my other moms, black women, black American women, they really looked out for me. I got black sisters, I got black cousins and aunts and stuff like that. This is not the broad brush black women as a whole. Black women are needed and valued. You look at the reason why we know about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is because he married the right type of black woman and Sister Coretta Scott King. Marilyn Evers, Mega picked the right woman. They picked the right ones to honor their legacy and carry on the work in their own way. Dr. Betty Shabazz with Brother Malcolm. But the thing that I look at now, I really do believe the most neglected and the most disrespected people in America are black men. I really feel that. I know that as a black man, if you really are a black man, you are not respected at home. You are not valued. Your point of view isn't valued. You are seen as obsolete. You are there just for pleasure, not to be taken seriously. And it get tiresome. It's like you just there, you just there and you're not appreciated and you're not utilized. It's like even I get in spaces as a black man, I'm supposed to be quiet and let black women do all the talking and they do all the whatever they're gonna do. And to me, it should be like a teamwork makes the dream work situation. We should be a team because we got things done. Like going back to Montgomery bus boycott, they, by black men stepping up and doing carpools and securing the black community. You had, World War II veterans, Korean War veterans. These men were moving around, patrolling, protecting, securing uh, the community during this time. Was 381 straight strike. I don't think this strike could have been successful without black men stepping up, and really protecting black women in the black community at that time. And you think about, I remember reading about in Detroit during World War II. You had the situation where the factories, this is doing when the factories were converted, the auto factories were converted to making war equipment, wartime equipment and stuff like that, things for the war effort. And you had the mistreatment of black women in some of these factories in Detroit. And it was so bad that the black women were forced a lot of times to eat in the restrooms instead of being allowed to eat in the cafeteria. And they're getting so mistreated that some of the brothers decided that if y'all don't treat the black women right, we're gonna quit. We are going to hold up, y'all. Woo. It's a Mercury retrograde. I don't want to lose nothing while I'm in a row, but they stood up for the sisters. The black men said, if you mistreat our sisters, we're gonna quit. We're gonna quit the factories. And so they because they try to fire all the black women. And so the black men said, you're not gonna treat our black women like that. They stood up for them sisters. You know what I'm saying? They stood up for them. And so I guess they were rehired. They got paid better, got treated better. They was able to eat in the cafeteria instead of trying to eat in the restaurant, doing their lunch breaks and stuff like that. So there's things that black men do. And then August 23rd, it marked Friday, August 23rd, marked the 107th anniversary of the Houston race riot, which was started because the all-white male Houston Police Department was terrorizing the black community in Houston, and they was messing with and try to terrorize these proud black soldiers, the 24th Infantry Regiment, 3rd Battalion, also known as the Buffalo Soldiers. They were in Houston back in the day to oversee the installation of Camp Logan, which was stationed outside of Houston. But they kept on having these run-ins with the local police who did not like black people, let alone black men in uniform. This is during World War II. This is 1917, August 23rd, 1917. The month before was the East St. Louis race massacre, where hundreds of black people were murdered and massacred by white people in East St. Louis, Illinois. A land of sundown towns, not just the land of Lincoln, but the land of sundown towns. So you had the situation where you got this all black unit sitting down south and deep south in Houston, Texas. Houston really was a cow town back in 1917. When you think of Houston now, it's not what it is today. It was really a cow town back then, a very racist place. And they had a significant black community there, but it was terrorized by all white male police department. So what happened on August 23rd, it was a couple of incidents with the police where some of the soldiers were beaten up and taken into custody because one soldier came to the aid of a black woman who was being assaulted by the police. He came to her aid. They beat him up. Then another black soldier came to the scene and was figure out what's trying to go on. He was Corporal Charles Baltimore. He was an MPD. He was a military police officer. Um, he was trying to figure out what was going on in the scene, and they ended up attacking him and shooting at him, and they beat him up real bad. So the brothers back in Camp Logan, they thought that he was dead. They said, well, people were telling them that the police killed Charles Baltimore. He was very popular among the black folks, black soldiers and stuff. And the black men were upset because they said, well, the white folks, they come here to lynch y'all. They come to Camp Logan to lynch y'all. So the black men, they said, you know what? Enough is enough. They got their guns. Their white commanding officer tried to stop them, but he couldn't stop them. He was afraid. From my understanding, them black men got their guns. They marched onto Houston and started getting into gunfights with the police. They killed about 5 police officers and 6 white folks. Then they stopped when they killed a white National Guardsman from Illinois. They thought he was police. They thought he was Houston police. So this when the men, okay, we're gonna give ourselves up to the authorities. The reason why they did that was they thought they was under attack by the all white Houston Police Department. So they killed 5 white cops. They killed 6 white civilians, whatever. They had their trials in the fall of 1917. It was the largest murder trial in U.S. history. You had over 100 plus black men on trial for their lives. 60 plus or 63 black men were found guilty and given life sentences. They were sentenced to life in prison. 19 black men were sentenced to hang. So they hanged 19 black men and sent about 63 plus to prison for life. And I think the last prisoner got out in 1938. See, it was a cry of a foul play because these men were not given the right legal representation. They were not even allowed to file for an appeal. They did not get a presidential review. See, no type of cases like special military stuff like that. In those situations, the president of the United States was supposed to review those cases and make a final statement or a confirmation of the rulings and stuff like that. President Woodrow Wilson, who was not a friend of black people, he got in because of the black vote. But he endorsed the Klan and resegregated the government and the military. He was not a fan of black people, but he knew that. I mean, he had some legal understanding. He was at one point he was the president or chancellor or whatever of Princeton University, as well as the governor of New Jersey. He had an intellect. He was Mr. Progressive, whatever you want to call him. But he knew there was something off about them not allowing him the chance to do a presidential review of these cases. So they labeled these men as being traitors to America. They mutinied against the country when they actually did what they were supposed to do. They protect the United States. They took an oath to protect the United States against enemies, both foreign and domestic. And they were under attack by state-sponsored white terrorism via the police department. If you look at the history of America, all your major riots and massacres were started by police misconduct. It's always started by some type of form of police misconduct. If you think about the Memphis Race Massacre, which happened just a few feet from where I'm doing this podcast, the epicenter of the Memphis Race Massacre, 1866, involved the tensions between the U.S. colored troops stationed here and the white police officers, mostly white Irish cops. They had a problem with these black men in uniform. You got to think about the time period in 1917. This is World War One. I talk about the East St. Louis Race Massacre. Then you got the situation where black men were being hanged in full uniform. So you had black men in uniform being hanged, and they're trying to fight to make the world safe for democracy. You even had a situation with Charles Hamilton Houston, who was the future dean of Howard Law School, who was the Jegna of Thurgood Marshall, that he was the architect behind the Brown v. Board case. That was Charles Hamilton Houston. The Jegna, y'all call them mentors, I call them Jegna, of Thurgood Marshall. He was almost lynched, and he was an officer in the army during World War One. He was over in France. These white American doughboys, that's what they called the soldiers, the white soldier doughboys from America, the American Expeditionary Forces. They were upset that Charles Hamilton Houston and his other fellow black soldiers were dressed in uniform, and the women were going crazy over them. The white women, the French women, wanted the black soldiers because they had a tale. They had a rumor that's saying that black men had monkey tails. So I guess the French women wanted to find out for themselves if the brothers had monkey tails under their uniforms. And the white men were upset. They almost lynched Charles Hamilton Houston. And he talked about it. And I think that what made him be committed to doing what he did as far as the civil rights, working with the NAACP Legal Defense Fund, being a dean at Howard University, a dean of law school at Howard University, and all that stuff. So black men, that's what I'm talking about. You can't have a lot of things without black men participating, sacrificing, putting ourselves in harm's way. So we get to a point now where black men, we are considered low IQ if we vote for Trump. We think about voting for Trump. Something wrong with us. We don't care about black women. We the white males of black society. We're not even allowed to be patriarchs in our own so-called communities. Black men are not respected as head of households or as leaders in the community anymore, because a lot of black men don't want the role. You got this man go their own way movement going on. But what I'm saying is that, my thing is I'm supporting Trump not because I look at him as my white daddy or zaddy. I have the conviction to say I will support Trump. I will vote for him a third time, not because I look at him to being a white savior, but because I look at him as the administration that can actually do some things for black people if he has the right black folks around him advising him on how to do things for black people. Because Trump, one thing he did have, he had the platinum plan, a $500 billion platinum plan for black America if he had got that second term. He was able to talk with Ice Cube and his people, a contract for black America. Joe Biden promised to meet with Cube and then said he ain't gonna do nothing for black people in that Zoom call. There's a Zoom call that Joe Biden had with the so-called black leadership of America. And when I'm talking about Derek Johnson and the NAACP, Mark Morial, Al Sharpton, any so-called black leader you could think of, he told them without any hesitation that I will not be doing nothing specifically for you people. Y'all need to go work with the Hispanics. That's what they was told in so many words. And you could find it somewhere because I saved it on my computer. Because I say never forget, like the Jewish people say, never forget, never forget. So my thing is, we don't have anybody. No, Ben Crump is not Johnny Cochran. It's not Ben Crump's fault. I like Ben Crump. It's not his. I don't have any animosity towards Ben Crump. But this is what is considered a black leader, a person that gets settlements for black victims, and that's okay. But we need reparations. We need some real settlements that's going to help black folk. And so I look at Donald Trump as the person that you could make a deal with him. He'll hear your business plan, your pitch. He'll listen to your elevator pitch, whatever they call it, and he'll give you his, you know, his opinion on it. But my thing is to say that uh both parties are bad. We know they're wings of they're wings of the same bird. We both know they're part of the same uh BS and institutions. My thing is uh I believe in competing. I believe that nothing is really set in stone. You got to compete for what you want. You got to fight for what you want. Like Donald Trump said, fight, fight, fight. You got to get in the arena and get something done. You might lose, you might fall short, but at least you did something. For us to just sit back and accept this as reality, this is not really reality. This is something that we help to create. We manifest this reality that we feel like we can't do anything of note, that we don't matter. I'm telling you right now, we do matter. I tell you right now, when YouTube or Whitey, call it Whitey, when Whitey said I got these many viewers and listeners, or Rumble, whoever, I know when I walk outside, it's crazy that people recognize who I am. They recognize my voice. They recognize who I am. I get phone calls from all around the country, phone, text, calls, everything. People are listening. And that's why they do so much to try to stifle my voice. But I want to encourage you all to utilize and amplify your voice by any means necessary, wherever you may be. You are God's chosen. The people that can receive this message and listen to me right now, you are part of God's chosen. So God granting you favor to take risk. I'm telling you, God has granted you favor to take risk. And what I'm saying is, I'm voicing my concern about the relationship between black men and women, because we shouldn't be at odds. I promise you, if Malcolm X came back today, he said what he said, that quote. Let me read that quote again. He said that the most neglected person in America is the black woman. This remains okay. The most disrespected person in America is the black woman. The most unprotected person in America is the black woman. The most neglected person in America is the black woman. Black women got social media. They getting all the attention. Black women getting all types of likes and reposts and retweets, and black women getting all that attention. See, so attention is new currency. Attention. So black folks have, I mean, white black women have been neglected. They twerking. You know, if Detroit Red came back and saw Sexy Red, if Detroit Red came back and he witnessed a Sexy Red or a Meg Thee Stallion or a Beyonce, and you think about some of the most educated people in the country are black women, I don't know. I don't think he'll say the same thing he said back in 62. That's just me. And the thing about it is, I wish people would treat the other quotes that Malcolm said about the Democrats the same way they treat that black woman quote. Because what he said about the Democrats in 64 and 63 is still true in 2024. He talked about Joe Biden's mentors by name. He talked about Strom Thurmond and John Stennis and James Eastland, Robert Byrd, the Grand Wizard of West Virginia, or Grand Cyclops, whatever he was. Why we don't talk about those political quotes that Malcolm talked about? And Malcolm didn't say he was for or against Barry Goldwater. When they asked him in a lot of ways, you think black folks should vote for Barry Goldwater? He didn't say that black folks should vote for Barry Goldwater, but he did say that, what are we getting for our votes? If black folks going to vote for any of these white men or these parties, what do we get for our vote? And my thing is, we're not getting anything as a collective for our votes. If you think about it, if you think about the fact that I don't know if it's true or not. Y'all look, I think it was on Yahoo News. Dr. Umar Johnson posted it about illegal immigrants they might be able to get $150,000 loan for a new home to buy their home, that the government will give them out in California $150,000 loan to buy their home. These are illegal. These are not legal immigrants. These are not American citizens. These are illegal immigrants are being granted $150,000 loan to buy homes without a line of credit, without a history of credit. And black folks, we've been told we can't have nothing because our credit score is horrible. Not all black people, but you think about the hell we had to go through. We got red line, even the GI Bill. A lot of the black veterans were not able to take advantage of the full GI Bill benefits like the white counterparts. So you think about all the stuff we've been through, right? I talked about Charles Hamilton Houston almost being lynched in uniform, about black men being lynched, about even the 24th Infantry 3rd Battalion. Look at the movie The 24th. It does a good job of dramatizing the situation back then in 1917 Houston. And I forgot to say that these guys were honorably discharged just the fall of last year. It took them over 106 years to honorably discharge these black men who did nothing but stood up for black manhood and to protect black womanhood and the black community. They are heroes forever for me. And they did nothing wrong. And the government said, we screwed up. We violated their rights. They were on a lot of duress. They were being harassed and intimidated by the Houston Police Department. And they fought back against police brutality and so-called white supremacy. These are heroes. So when you say black men never stood up, and the sister told me black men have been derelict of duty and MIA, it's not true. If it wasn't for black men fighting and dying, we wouldn't have nothing. Little black males at a young age are mistreated, are disrespected, are neglected by society. Like with Tupac talking about the rose that grew from concrete, black people are a miracle, especially black males. If we could make it to adulthood, if we could make it into manhood, like I said, we've been in a state of arrested development since the 60s because they saw how powerful black men were. J. Edgar Hoover had that memo about, stopping the rise of the so-called black messiah. He talked about the different people that could be the black messiah. Elijah Muhammad was too old. I think Malcolm X was dead by that time. I think he talked about Dr. King and Stokely Carmichael, people like that. It's something about black men. Something about the way we carry ourselves and our demeanor and our ability to communicate that frightens the white establishment. And unfortunately, a lot of us have gave in to the dark side. We rather be males and get a paycheck rather than be men and stand on principle. Even with the celebrities, we had people like Paul Robeson, who was a man. They took away his passport, his ability to make a living. They tried to assassinate him over in Russia. Probably the CIA put some stuff in his drink or whatever and try to make him go crazy and jump out a window. But like Dizzy Gillespie said, he said Paul Robeson is our hero. And he suffered more than Malcolm X and Dr. King because they tortured him instead of putting him out of his misery due to an assassin bullet in his late 30s, like they did Malcolm and Martin. They tortured Paul Robeson until he was about almost 80 years old. They basically tortured this man. This man gave up a lucrative career as an entertainer, as one of the world's greatest singers and Shakespearean actors. to fight and advocate not just for Black America, but for all oppressed peoples everywhere. And he paid a price. And Malcolm used to listen to Paul Robeson speak in order to train himself for public speaking. So Malcolm had got inspiration from Paul Robeson. He looked at how Paul Robeson carried himself, how he talked, and he learned how to do public speaking by listening to Paul Robeson. And we don't acknowledge him today. This was a Black man who stood on principle, who took the hard stance. They even sent Jackie Robinson after Paul Robeson to try to destroy him. You know, Jackie Robinson took the bait. Paul Robeson didn't take the bait. He didn't want to do anything to mischaracterize his brother, but they used everybody and everything to try to neutralize Paul Robeson by any means necessary. He wanted to bring the United States up on charges of menticide against Black people. This is years before Malcolm X was trying to bring the United States up on charges in the UN. Paul Robeson tried to do that first, or I believe he did do something to that extent. But this is the danger of Black men able to recognize something, to stand on something, to believe in a principle, to fight for a cause. It's something about Black men. We fight for everybody else. We were 5,000 strong for George Washington. They didn't want us then, and we fought to make this republic free. Right? It was a Black double agent that actually turned the favor of the war to George Washington and the Continental Army. This was a double agent, a spy for America, who he spied on Benedict Arnold, a so-called American hero that became a traitor to America. And I'm gonna look up his name. I know his name, but I hate to say stuff and I forget their name. Let me see. He was a spy during the American Revolutionary War. He's like really a forgotten founding father as far as I'm concerned. And I just want to make sure I get his name right. I love these smartphones because you get it in the James Armistead Lafayette. Look up James Armistead Lafayette. He was a double spy for America. See, Black people, Black men are always stepping up and saving America, whether it be John Armistead or Armistead Lafayette, or whether it be Cat Williams. Black men are always leading the way. And it is our time, Black men, to lead the way. But it's sad that I believe a lot of this is not natural. This disconnect between the Black men and Black women as relates to politics. This is all by design via social media. We are at odds, and and sometimes we got to fight these cultural civil wars. And like I said, I don't know if Detroit Red, if he came back today, he would say the same thing about Black women. If you look at how free Cardi B I don't know if she black, she's black. I don't know if she's black. She say she's Dominican or something. Cardi B or Sexy Red, if he saw Sexy Red or Lotto or Meg the Stallion, what they doing, are they really oppressed? And Meg the Stallion is a college graduate. Are they really that oppressed? No. So yeah, America's for MAGA. So I'm just gonna look and wrap this up. Y'all said this. Said more people need to understand that she has said that she will not do nothing to benefit us. No hate crime or economic package like what was created for Asians. Shake my head. Thank you, Divine Retribution, for that. Yeah. Okay. All gas, no brakes. You said Kamala Harris comes from privilege. Her grandfather was a politician in India, and both of her parents came here for PhDs. Excuse me. She's not like us. That story about busing was to make her relatable. Okay, I hear you. See, thank y'all. Y'all very educated crowd here. Black Rain said very few seem as concerned as they should that Kennedy faced such opposition for getting on the ballot. Kennedy comes from a very powerful well-known, legendary Democratic family. You know, his uncle was the president of the United States, John F. Kennedy. His father, Bobby, was an attorney general of the United States, a U.S. senator from New York, and a presidential candidate in '68. Um, he's come from, like, that is weird that a candidate could not be respected enough by the Democratic Party to be able to get on ballots, to be able even to be put in debates, or to be able to do a primary. And that's a candidate. So, 2024 is crazy. And people should be concerned, like you said, Black Rain, about him being blocked from getting on the ballot. But it reminds me, I don't know if y'all can remember, let's go back to 2004 and 2008. Dennis Kucinich. You remember the Dennis Kucinich, the representative from, I believe, Cleveland or Ohio? He tried to run for president. And if people really was thinking, he would have been a great, presidential candidate, but he didn't look like the traditional, like he wasn't, he was short. He wasn't like traditionally handsome. He didn't like a JFK. He didn't like John F. Kennedy, but I believe he had the right heart and spirit. And I remember when they used to do the debates, the televised debates, they allowed him to do the debates earlier in the campaigns, but they would put him on the edge of the stage where they would, like, basically cut him out of the screen. Like, they put him on the edge and they focus on the candidates in the middle. But I believe that he had a lot of great ideas for the country and he was sincere. But I believe Kennedy has a lot of great ideas for the country and he's sincere, but he doesn't fit the agenda. See, the problem with Trump is that he has been in the way of their agenda of what they're doing. Trump has set them back by maybe several years or even decades. So to have Trump in there, he's really like the last thing standing between us and these people, or these reptilians, or whatever you want to call them. So yeah, they did Kennedy wrong. To be a legacy Democrat, they did him terribly wrong. It's like they did Tulsi Gabbard. She stood up for Bernie Sanders. I think she was the VP of the DNC, and she stood up for Bernie Sanders, but she saw how the fix was in for Hillary Clinton, and I believe she resigned. Tulsi Gabbard and RFK Jr., they have a moral compass that I can respect. As far as I know, from what I have gathered from interviews and their actions, they are sincere about trying to help empower the American people and to do the right thing by our country. And they put her on terrorist watch list or no fly list or whatever, Tulsi Gabbard. So she made some very powerful political enemies. I'm thinking about, if I really was honest and forthright, I would have voted for the Honorable Cynthia McKinney in 2008 instead of Barack Obama. Cynthia McKinney was a U.S. representative from Georgia, a Black woman, proud Black Catholic woman, came from a very powerful activist family. Father was very much involved in the struggle and the movement, and she became somebody that the powers that they think they be did not like, because she was she was an advocate for Libya and for the Palestinians. She was one of the first public elected officials that called for an independent investigation into 9/11, and they didn't like that, and they did a redistricting. They redistrict her district in Congress. I mean, she got into it with the Capitol Police. They said they didn't recognize her because she had a new hairdo, although she'd been there several terms. So they try to make it like she's a kook. I remember Cynthia McKinney talked about how they was hunting Black people in Louisiana in the aftermath of Katrina, and people thought she was lying. She's making up stuff. They're not hunting down Black folks in Louisiana, New Orleans, post Katrina. And you see what happened on the Danziger Bridge, where law enforcement killed on Black people. You had the brother that got burnt up in a patrol car or something like that, in a car. The police did that to him. So there was things happening. And Cynthia McKinney, she paid the price for having a moral compass and for speaking out, so speaking truth to power. They got rid of her. She's not in Congress no more. They finally got her out of Congress, and I believe she lives outside the country now. And I'm going to try to get her to be on my show to talk about the geopolitical stuff and also what's going on at home. I think she's a voice that need to be heard from on a regular basis. Because, like I said in the last broadcast, is that the people that love us, that fight for us, we don't fight for them. we don't really love them enough to sacrifice for them and with them. And Cynthia McKinney is an unsung shero who fought for not just black people, but for the American people and for all people to know the truth and to live in truth and to live in justice. And it's an injustice that she is not spoken of today, and she's not respected at home. A prophet is always without honor at home. So Cynthia McKinney, God bless her. May the universe soul God and the righteous ancestors continue to protect her. Thank you. No one, nobody. Nobody. I think you're not free if you don't have true freedom of choice. This is true. Freedom isn't free. Sweet cheeks. All right. You are so right about Donald Trump. Okay. Said Black Panther docu film was absolutely a psyop. Blah, blah. I'm talking about the old one. You got to hit me up today. I got to talk to you about that. You said a docu film. I know it was one they made called The Murder of Fred Hampton Sr. That actually was really good. They came out not that long after he was killed, and it's actual footage. They interviewed Fred Hampton, and they showed the apartment, the aftermath of the apartment that he got killed in on the west side of Chicago. How like a black woman from the South said it was like a northern lynching, And Fred Hampton, which is interesting, Fred Hampton's mom, she used to babysit Emmett Till. Emmett Till folks were neighbors of Fred Hampton's people, and she used to babysit Emmett Till. So, Emmett Till got killed at 14. Fred Hampton, the government started watching Fred Hampton when he was 14. He was already a NAACP youth organizer in Maywood, and he was very effective in organizing the youth. And then, Fred Hampton only lived to be 21 years old. They killed him in his sleep. The government did. The FBI had an informant and agent provocateur, William O'Neill, as Fred Hampton's chief bodyguard. So they claimed that he put some stuff in Fred Hampton's food and Kool-Aid to make him drowsy. So when the police came in on Thursday, was it Thursday, December 4th, 69, like 4 something in the morning, it was early morning, something like that, early morning hours. I want to say it was a Thursday. Let me look it up. 'Cause I know y'all be saying, brother, Ron lying. That boy stay lying. I love these smartphones. You could just look up anything. Let's say 1969 December calendar, right? So what's the 4th on a Thursday? Yep. December 4th on Thursday, I believe it was 4 something in the morning. The Chicago Police Department came in and shot up the apartment. And it was aiming towards the bedroom where Fred Hampton slept with his fiance, who was pregnant with his son, Fred Hampton Jr. And they said he would have survived, but it was a black police officer that put the kill shots in his head to dead him. And he was known to be a very aggressive person in the black Chicago community. He had a reputation for being a dirty cop. Let me see, gloves. I'm just trying to type in the cop name that I got since I'm on here. Uh, Let me see. So I think the officer that shot Fred Hampton in the head was a guy named Officer James Gloves Davis. It should be, the Chicago Police Department. I'm trying to make sure it's right. I could be wrong. Let's see. Mm-hmm. Just trying to read. I did. This case is interesting because that movie, The Judas and the Black Messiah, I thought it was a good start for those who need to learn about the truth about what happened December 4th, 69. But y'all got to remember, Fred Hampton was just 21. Mark Clark, who was the defense captain for the Black Panther Party of Illinois, was just 22. He was sleeping on the couch. And let's see. Hmm. Okay. I'm just looking through this because Fred Hampton's birthday is actually August 30th. He was born Black August 30th, 1948. Hmm. So I think it was the officer named James Gloves Davis that delivered the kill shot, whatever. But the Chicago Police Department, on the behalf of the state of America, the FBI, and it was a civil trial that lasted about 12 years, whatever. And the government was found complicit back in '82, I believe, in killing Fred Hampton and Mark Clark, and they paid the families of Fred Hampton and Mark Clark like 1.82 or 1.85 million dollars back in 1982. So it was proven in a court, in the U.S. court, that the government killed Fred Hampton. And just like the government killed Dr. King, it was proven in the court of law December 8th, 1999, U.S. Civil Court in Memphis, Tennessee, that the U.S. government was complicit in the murder of Dr. King. The actual gun that killed Dr. King came from the FBI. So they let you know. Said not only has the educational system failed, but parents have as well. Yeah, it's the miseducation system. It's the indoctrination system. The Department of Education needs to be defunded and abolished because it's the Department of Miseducation. Because we got kids graduating with diplomas that can't read or write and do simple math. So you do the math on that. Math ain't mathing. Our young people, we are in trouble. People, they are producing a permanent idiocracy. Look at the movie Idiocracy that came out, oh, back in the 2000s. Mike Judge, from the creator of Beavis and Butthead and King of the Hill. I believe that's his movie. Did he also do Office Space? But Idiocracy, we living through Idiocracy right now. It's an Idiocracy. It's an Idiocracy, whatever. Let's see. He said, good friend of mine's named Ryan Bland and Sandra's cousin. He plays in NYC hardcore punk band. Check him out. Okay. But yeah, there's no justice for Sandra Bland. And we just like, we forgot about her, just like we forgot that there's still missing black people from Katrina. But well, my message is to black people, black men and women. Like, somebody disrespected me. They were family. They disrespected me because of my political beliefs. But I don't hold any animosity or ill will towards a person. I just say, you know what? I only debate my equals. Like with the spirit of Dr. John Henry Clark, I only debate my equals. I told her have a great day, and there's no ill will. But she was very disrespectful. She said some demeaning things. I mean, just because I don't agree with her worldview doesn't make me not still respect her and appreciate her point of view. But I'm just ain't drinking the Kool-Aid. I'm not drinking the democratic Kool-Aid at this point in my life. Now I drunk it in the past, but to me, Barack Obama sounds like a used car salesman at this point, and it is what it is. Don't you know? JLP said Jesse Lee Peterson is Man's History Month. Well, it's Black August. I know that. And men, we need to be making history instead of making ourselves history. So I want to encourage any black man who has a different point of view from their woman. Speak your mind, brother. We need you on the front lines. If you feel like you doing this because you want to help black people, don't be afraid to express yourself. It's like when people call you Uncle Tom, don't people know that Uncle Tom is a black hero? He's not a black traitor. He's a black hero. He was a true race man. He saved black people lives. He protected black people. So to be an Uncle Tom is to be a hero. And also to be an Uncle Tom is to be misunderstood. You understand? So a prophet is always without honor among family, friends, home, stuff like that. But I'm taking the hits. You know what I'm saying? I'm still standing 10 toes down. But thank y'all so much for listening, for me blabbering, blabble, babble. If you like the words from Brother Herb, please spread the word. Tell people to subscribe. We all be TV2 on the YT. If you can't get out the YT plantation, y'all don't want to get out YT plantation. Y'all love White Daddy. Subscribe here. I can find it. Oh God. Subscribe to We All Be TV too. Now, the We All Be TV, I'm getting ready to close that down. The original We All Be TV, because they constantly removing videos I did from like 8, 4, 10 years ago. So I said, let me just start over and rebuild. So I got the backup channel. We got over 6,000 subscribers. Help us get to 10,000 subscribers. We got over 100 subscribers on rumble.com. Help us get to 1,000 subscribers. We need to keep it going. I'm determined by God to keep the message out there by any means necessary. So you subscribe to rumble.com. We all BTV as well. That's rumble.com. We all BTV. If you like to support Brother Herd, send a donation via snail mail. You could do this. Attention, Ronald Herd II, the We All Be Group Incorporated, P.O. Box 752062, Memphis, Tennessee 38175. Once again, attention, Ronald Herd II, the We All Be Group Incorporated, P.O. Box 752062, Memphis, Tennessee 38175. We're working on getting the historic marker, Remember Fort Pillow historic marker, restored. I'm going to talk about that, those efforts. If you want to send a donation for that, just put in the memo. This is for Remember Fort Pillow marker. Just like Cash App, you want to support that effort via Cash App, $ R2C2H2. Make sure you put in the memo, Remember Fort Pillow sign. We got to get that history back out there, because truth crushed to the ground shall rise again. And I want to thank people that I go outside, I'm thinking that I'm not making a difference, whatever. And people are constantly, reminding me, we know about you, Brother Ron. We support what you do. And that's crazy to me, because I'm just a regular person, but people, I'll be outside just minding my business. People say, "Oh, you Brother Ron, and we love We All Be, man. Thank you, thank you, thank you for talking about the stuff you're talking about. Stay strong, brother." So I want to tell the brothers out there that's having a hard time at the cookouts, that your women don't like you no more, your kids don't respect you. Stay strong, brother, because you are on the right side of history as relates to this MAGA movement. Keep it moving, player. Don't stop till you get enough. Right? So Cash Out, $R2C2H2, PayPal, Google Pay, Zelle, your support, R2C2H2 at gmail.com. You can Vimo your support at R2C2H2. And let me see. And that's, I think I'm back on. So I guess so. Thank y'all so much, family, for tuning out to get in where you fit in. In the words of Duke Ellington, we love you madly. Keep on producing and pushing. Let me see something. I can't see nothing. God bless y'all. Take care. Peace. Retrograde, y'all. This is a Mercury retrograde. So I'm gonna shut it down. Let's see. Said thank you. My first time listening. Keep up the great work. I really enjoyed it. You're very knowledgeable. Thank you. You said very knowledgeable on this podcast. Thank you, Ruby Gilliam. Support the cause if you can. We love you too, brother Ron. Thank you. We love y'all madly. Intuitive 3, Empress. Intuitive Empress. We love you madly as well. Yes. Love madly. Love you madly, brother Rashawn. Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure. Thank you, sweet cheeks. Peace and blessings as well. And Law Dog, good night and God bless. Y'all take care. Good night out there. One love. One love.